St. Paul is a city full of historic buildings, from our houses on Summit Avenue to our European decorated skyscrapers in downtown. We are a city who prides itself on its history. Such is the case with this building here. This is the St. Paul Fire Department's Station 10, and it is the oldest station in the state of Minnesota. However, as of April 13th, this building is a fire station no more. Built in 1885, this building has been serving the city of St. Paul for 125 years, and in that time, it's seen its share of changes.
When it first started, it was just a single base station with an upstairs, and the records aren't really sure, but at some point the existing station was kind of on the east half of the station that we see today, and at some point, in the late 1890s, early 1900s, they added on another, the second half or the west part of the station or whatever. And when they started initially, like I said, we said they had a chemical engine, and then they added a steamer and a hose wagon. And Station 10 had horse-drawn apparatus until 1923. And in 1923, they got their first motorized apparatus, and I think it was like a 1920 Aaron's Fox, which is St. Paul bought in the late teens through the 30s, similar to one that's at our new station now. It's Aaron's Fox. And in 1937, they combined those two companies, Engine 10 and Ladder 11, into Quad 10, and they went down to seven firefighters. And that apparatus had a ladder on it, it had a pump, it had water, hose, and then they had one vehicle that could do the jobs of two. In 1971, St. Paul Fire Department took over the ambulance service. Prior to that, the St. Paul Police did it. And Station 10 in 1971 was one of 7 stations that received an ambulance. And the fire crew of 4 and the ambulance crew was the same crew, and they jumped between the two vehicles. And it's pretty much been the same since 1982.
Station 10 was designed by the famous Edward Payson Basford. He is the person responsible for designing buildings such as the Armstrong-Quinlan House. Yet those familiar with Basford's work recognize that this building isn't one of his most memorable.
It doesn't have the character that most of our stations were even built in that era. And the guy that built it built homes up in Summit and everything, but for some reason that was a very simple, more of a basic plan and stuff. And like Station 18 up on University is more ornate and more of a, to me, it doesn't have the fire station look like a lot of our stations were built in that era.
Yet even though the building doesn't share the same distinguished look as some of the other buildings in St. Paul, it carries just as much character. In the early 20th century, the building doubled as a horse hospital. The cobblestone that the horses used to stand on can still be seen in the laundry room. The fire hoses are still hung up to dry after every use, just like in the old days. But some of this building's history has been long covered up.
When we were kids, the wood barn next to the fire station there wasn't there. It was a big empty lot when we were young, probably in the 6, 7, 8-year-old age. And there was one summer we spent, or late summer, we spent probably 2 weeks, all the neighborhoods kids cleaning out all the glass and all of the rocks and everything out of there so we could play tackle football, none of this touch stuff out here. And it wasn't like 2 weeks after we cleaned that all, they came in and put that wooden building up, and then we couldn't play there anymore. They kept us out of there. So we were not real too happy about that one.
Les has lived 2 houses down from the fire station for over 60 years. But as he describes it, the firefighters have been great neighbors.
They've always been around helping. A lot of times they'll blow the snow up on the sidewalks for us when it gets really nasty. Years ago, I know before we had snow blowers, we really appreciated that because they were the only one in the whole block had a snow blower. And we get a lot of questions on the station as to how can you live there with all that noise and racket and all the sirens and stuff going on. But to tell you the truth, after about a year or two like that, you don't even hear the sirens anymore. Plus the guys are pretty good about going out at night. A lot of times if there's no traffic, the sirens don't come on until they get up to the corner or the other corner. So we don't hear them right out of the barn too much.
Station 10 and Station 1 are both closed due to the St. Paul Fire Department's new building on West 7th in Randolph. The new building will combine the department's headquarters with a brand new Fire Station 1. Firefighters from both the old Station 1 and Station 10 are both stationed at the new building. According to Assistant Chief Jim Smith, the decision to combine these 2 stations was an easy one.
Economically, it made perfect sense. With Station 10 being over 100 years old, obviously the efficiency within that building, energy efficiency, was greatly reduced. And the upkeep, the annual maintenance on that building just became a burden to the fire department. And so to move those two stations here, though we're going to have fond memory of those places, it's a smart move for the city.
One of the benefits of building a new station, such as the new Station 1, is that the needs of the firefighters are more easily met.
We're going to lose that warmth, that hominess, the old-time feeling from Station 10, but the amenities here are 10 times what they are over at Station 10, and I have no doubt that the personnel coming over are going to love the upgrades.
It's always a sad occasion when a historic building closes its doors. As of right now, the future of this building is unknown. The fire department does plan to continue the use of the second floor classroom, but without the presence of firefighters, it won't be the same. Luckily, the new station is only a block away, so neighbors won't have a chance to become too nostalgic. With the City of St. Paul, I'm Bobby Edwards.